I'm going to start out today's video by saying that I believe, in my opinion, that silver and gold and other precious metals as part of your portfolio, your stack, whatever it may be, is insanely important, regardless of what the spot price does. Having something that is not this right here, something that has value that is not this paper right here, is incredibly important. Now, I'll start by going all the way back to 2020. I did a video, I don't remember exactly when it was, but it was somewhere around the beginning of the shutdowns, and the government had announced the PPP, the Payment Protection Program, and they increased the unemployment. They started sending out these stimulus checks to every American, basically free money for everyone. And obviously that money came from where? Well, the government just printed it out of thin air. As a result, we saw huge inflation. Our M2 money supply skyrocketed through the roof. I mean, it was like, I don't even remember how much. It was like half of all of our money, 80% of all of our, whatever it was. I don't remember the numbers anymore. But the high majority of all of our money that had ever been created was created in the course of like 2 years. So obviously we were going to see sky high inflation. You saw crazy high fuel prices, and that number is rotating. If you think about this today, we had sky high gas prices and then those came down. Lumber prices were sky high and then those came down. Now it's eggs, milk and other things that we need. My point is that it seems like it rotates in a circle. It's like, all right, well, this has been too high for long enough. Let's switch it to something else, whatever it is. And I'm not trying to go full conspiracy theory or anything, but it seems like they're increasing the prices of everything to get more of our money out of our hands. And why exactly would they do something like that? Well, they realized very quickly that creating all this money was going to create major inflation and cause a ton of problems. And we're seeing right now the M2 money supply is actually decreasing. And what does that mean? Well, it means that the government is making less money. The amount of money in circulation is lower. They're making less than what is being taken out of the supply. And so there's been a lot of videos on YouTube and articles about the debt clock and $0 silver. In fact, I'm going to put that up on the screen. I'm going to show it to you and we'll talk about it for just a second. So taking a look at the debt clock, and I guess it makes a little bit of sense why people would be up in arms about this, because whoever thought you would see $0 per dollar barrel of oil, or, well, I guess technically, at the beginning of the pandemic when everything crashed, we actually saw oil go negative. But outside of that little blip, whoever thought we would have seen $0 per barrel of oil, or more specifically, what we're talking about here, silver to dollar ratio, $0 per ounce, silver to gold ratio, dollar to gold ratio, I mean $0 per ounce. And all this actually means, literally all this means is that right now the M2 money supply is decreasing, and so there is no dollars being made per ounce of silver. So if we take a look at the top, you see it has an asterisk by it, and if you look at the top, it says the U.S. M2 money supply is declining year over year. So basically the government is taking money out of circulation. That doesn't mean that they're not creating money. It just means that they're creating less than they're taking out of circulation. So the M2 money supply is decreasing. The year over year increase in the US M2 money supply divided by the yearly world production of silver in ounces. Well, if that number is decreasing, if we're actually going down instead of up in M2 money supply, then obviously that means we are not going to see an actual number next to silver. It would actually be negative if we knew what the actual negative number was. But looking at the debt clock, I mean, it's pretty obvious. We have a huge amount of national debt, 31.52 trillion, a huge $1.4 trillion deficit. The amount of US federal spending is $6 trillion per year. $6 trillion per year. That's how much money the Fed is spending right now. And if we keep up with the same pace, if we look at 2027, you will see that it continues on to $44 trillion just in a few years, 4 years from now. Now, if you look at these numbers right here, they still say zero then, and that's because the debt clock is just basing this literally on current rates. So if you look at this on this day, 2027, at current rates, it says it right here in the top right, and you have to understand that is very important because these rates are going to change. So we could, lower our deficit, which would lower our debt. We could start creating more money, which would in turn make this number go up to something. But you remember just a couple of years ago when they were creating all the money out of thin air that I was just talking about earlier, you saw $4,000, $5,000 per ounce of silver. And that again was just the increase of M2 money supply. And that's because we created so much money in just a couple of years. A huge majority of the money that's ever been created was just created in like 2 years this last couple of years during the pandemic. And obviously you can go to any online website that tracks silver price. Right now we're at SD Bullion's website, and you can see that silver is trading for $23.84 per ounce. I mean, so it's certainly not that zero that's showing on the dead clock. And you can actually go down and even look at a whole historical chart. Right now we're looking at starting around the middle of 2020, and you can see right here silver really recovers given or following the initial lockdowns. And then right here, this little spike here, if you guys want to talk about, if you want to get a little off course here with today's conversation, is the beginning of the silver squeeze. Now in other videos, and I'll do another video on this soon, we had people saying that the silver squeeze helped silver price, and it did not. So we had that initial day, that initial speculation that caused this spike, and then look at silver afterwards. So the real big issue with this whole section right here, this is what really bothers me. If we kind of zoom in on this. All right, so here we go. Nope, we're a little bit in. Here we go. So here's February of 2021. You can see it didn't do anything to the spot price. We had that little bump, and then it dropped right back down. And then it dropped, and it dropped, and it climbed back up. Silver is trading, like all these numbers here are basically based on paper spot price. It has nothing to do with physical silver. So I had a lot of comments recently on a video where I was talking about the silver squeeze. Actually, it was the interview that I had with James. And, we had a lot of people comment that, the whole silver squeeze created, or caused silver to go up. And clearly it did not. It absolutely did not. If we take a look at this chart right here, you can see the silver prices were already recovering from the whole first lockdown right here. We had a bigger bump here, right here in August than we did in February of 2021. And you can see it didn't do anything. But you know what really happened during this time period, like this time period right here? Oh, man, this right here, up until probably around right here, so like all this time period, was the most insane premiums I've ever really seen on silver eagles, silver rounds, etc. And so I know that's a little bit off topic for what this video is about, but trying to pressure the spot price of silver by buying physical really isn't going to do anything. It's the only thing it's going to do is increase the premiums, which is how much you are paying for silver over spot. So getting back on topic, and I do apologize. I know I like to ramble a little bit and get a bit off course when I'm doing videos like this, because my mind really starts to wander when I just put all this stuff together in my head and when I think about it all. It just shows me once again why I think silver is so important. Yeah, the spot price, whatever. What you really need to consider, what I at least personally consider, is that the amount of money, even if they're creating less, if they're finally pulling money out of circulation, lowering the M2 money supply, the damage has already been done. We are looking at massive inflation. We are looking at increasing prices on everything. The standard household doesn't have money. We did a video a couple of weeks ago talking about the lower demand on silver. And many people commented, and they were right. It's something that I didn't cover in that video, but you guys in the comments, I think you were right. There's people right now that just need money to be able to pay their bills. And it's really unfortunate that that has to happen, that people have to sell their silver to pay their bills or to cover whatever it may be, to buy groceries because of what's been happening lately. So again, the damage has already been done. They can lower the M2 money supply all they want, but I don't think this inflation is going anywhere. And I think it's important to, I think the next 5 to 10 years, and this is just between me and you, I really do think the next 5 to 10 years is going to show you why silver is important. I'm not saying that silver is going to be worth $1,000 an ounce or even 100 or even 40 or 30 or 50. I'm just saying it's going to show you why it's important to have some sort of physical asset that isn't this currency right here. Imagine we get into a situation where foreign governments, foreign, countries, governments, or just people in general stop believing in the US dollar. Remember, most overseas transactions, I think it's like over 60%, are made in the US dollar. We're talking foreign transactions are still made in the US dollar. And the day that this dollar stops becoming what is used as for most transactions is the day that we are going to wish we had something else. Whether it's silver, gold, whatever it may be, you're going to wish you would have had something else than these dollars, because if you really want to see us go through some serious inflation, wait till the world stops believing in this. That is going to be the day where it's really important to have something like this, whatever it may be. Mine is silver, yours might be gold, platinum, or palladium. It might be something else completely. Maybe you're crypto. I'm not a crypto guy at all. I'm not advocating for crypto at all. It's just my opinion, of course. But whatever it may be, you're going to wish it was something other than this $20 bill right here. So listen, guys, I want to thank you so much for joining me today. I hope that you enjoyed the video. And if you haven't done so yet, make sure you subscribe. We are over 100,000 subscribers right now, but my next goal might be 250,000. Who knows? So I would love to have you along for the ride. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I hope to see you in the next video.